Okay, so good morning, everyone. So my name is Caroline Hunt, and I'm the Managing Director of Emerald Starfish. And today I want to spend about 10 minutes just looking at competency-based questions and how to use them as part of your recruitment process. So what I'm going to do is we're going to look at why you should use competency-based questions and how do you ask the questions, and then a question and answer session for those online afterwards. So in terms of competency-based questions, the reason I like them is because they look at kind of what people have done before. And I don't know if you've heard this phrase, but past performance is the best predictor of future success. And so we're really looking at people's potential to succeed. So and also what we're trying to do is create a system where we are judging people or candidates based objectively rather than subjectively. So we can effectively score people against each other and view that this person is better for a job than somebody else because we're wanting to get the right person as opposed to the person that we might feel the warmest towards because they're more similar to us or whatever. So it's something that we use with all of our interviews, and I just think it just adds that kind of objectivity. So this is kind of the scientific bit, really. They're said to be 5 times more accurate in choosing the right candidate than traditional interviews, which sounds fantastic, but actually they are 52% successful at choosing the right candidate. So if you think about flipping a coin, you know, there is that whole risk thing when you're interviewing somebody that actually, you know, you're looking at their performance at interview as opposed to their performance on a job. They are again 55% predictive on the job behaviour. Where they are good is they're effective at predicting future potential, and they're really good at identifying the difference between somebody who can do the job at an average level and the top performer. So it can really help sort of see what they're likely to do within the organisation. So what are they? So the questions are important to ask are open-ended questions, so they can provide more information about the area that you're asking. So we look at the situation, the behaviours that the candidates demonstrated, and then most importantly, I think, is the outcome of those. So when we ask the question, so for example, one of the questions would be, if you're looking at customer service, tell me about a time when you had to deal with a particularly difficult customer. And first of all, you need the candidate to set the scenario, so you understand, which job it was at, why the customer was being difficult, all of that. Then how the candidate managed that situation. What behaviours did they show? And then, most importantly, as I say, I think, is the outcome. What was the resolution? So with the difficult candidate, the difficult customer situation, what you're looking for is, I resolved the problem and both the company and the person were happy with the outcome. So in terms of the sorts of questions that you should ask, so what we do is we look at the job descriptions and then we analyse the skills that you need them to have, and then we design the questions around this. So we go to the job descriptions, and so particularly when we're being briefed by a client, we will, in the conversations that we have, we will look at things that are important for the client or the company for that particular role. So for example, we're doing some work at the moment. It's really important that the candidates have the ability to problem solve. So there is a customer service person within an insurance company. They need to be able to problem solve, and they really need great customer service as well. So and identify those. So I would have a maximum of 4 of those and design the questions around them. So, and some examples, I've used some of these already. So planning an organisation, a typical question we ask. So we would use this for things like administration or roles where you have to follow processes, would be, tell me about how you organise your time on a daily basis and what are your priorities. And then another one is customer service, which I've already given you the example for that. So if you had a difficult customer, how did you deal with it? How did you resolve it? So I think it's really important to think about not just the first question, but the follow-up questions within that. So what information might you be given that you should also probe on, so that you get the full picture? So really, I think it's really important not to rush a competency-based interview. 4 competency questions are enough, and to have a real think about the other things. So for example, the first question is, tell me how you organise your time on a daily basis. What are your priorities? Follow-up questions to that could be something like, well, what if something happens unexpectedly? How would your plan flex for that? What do you find are the most effective tools within your remit to help you plan? So thinking about those as well. So it's not just a one-off question. And the reason I think this is important is, and this is where we kind of add the score bit to it, is that we look at positive behaviours. So, for example, for planning an organisation, what things do we need that candidate to be able to show us or talk to us about that make them good at planning an organisation? And they would be things like using a diary, creating to-do lists, understanding what their daily priorities are, having that flexibility if something just lands on their desk, how are they communicating what they're doing. And I think it's really important to kind of know what a good answer looks like, so you can effectively tick them off. And what we do is we do basically that. We tick off these points and then add up the score. So if candidate A has ticked off 3 points and candidate B has ticked off 4 points, then that person is more competent at planning an organisation than the previous candidate. But it's down to us to ask the right questions to ensure that we've given them the opportunity to answer the question fully. So, for example, with the planning an organisation, if they haven't talked about flexibility, I would want to ask, so tell me about what happens if something unexpected lands on your desk. If they say it never happens, that would be a slight concern to me, because it's not that they couldn't handle it, they just haven't done so far, and therefore you don't know how they would react. Does that make sense? So it's really important to probe further and to have some, as I say, we have a tick list where we say a candidate, if they've scored this many ticks, they have enough positive indicators to say that they are competent at this behaviour. Okay. And that's it really, Kirsty. So in terms of, anybody else that's watching this video, we are currently this month doing some strategy sessions where you can join us to look at competency-based interviewing, other questions you might want to ask, and what information candidates want. And next week I'm presenting on other types of questions, so we'll be looking at things like values. But if you want some more information that's specific to the roles that you're recruiting for, then please do feel free to book in for a 60-minute strategy session get my teeth in with me, and you can visit our website, emerald-starfish.com, and access my diary there to book. Okay, thank you very much. Let me just stop